Welcome, my name is Alex and this is Drive-Bys. Today we're gonna see Roy's engine being opened. I'm a bit nervous because depending on what we find inside and the conditions of the parts within the engine could make or break this project and my wallet. TPS is waiting for us. It's going to be an incredibly exciting day. You don't often get to see what's inside, what's happening within. I'd love to know what's happening within my heart and stuff. But this time we have the opportunity to see exactly what was wrong with Roy, why he made those noises, why it feels the way it feels, why the compression has gone down. What will it be? I'm buzzing. Off we go. We're back at the performance shop. Roy is behind us and we've got Josh. They told me you're one of the top rebuilders in the country.
Well, I don't know about that.
How many rotary rebuilds have you done?
Oh, lost count years ago. I've been doing it a little over 10 years now. Started from the bottom, cleaning, getting filthy, cleaning them. Yeah, well, personally, I like to encourage people to home build. You learn about your own car. There's a lot of knowledge out there for people to learn by. There's also the flip side, a lot of stuff not to listen to, but so it's a big risk to do it yourself. It's why people charge and the cost is so much. There's a lot of specialist tools involved, the experience.
Yeah. What I want to find out today really is how good or bad the situation is in here. Because I've just spent quite a bit of money on getting rid of rust, and then I look outside and you go, all those beautiful RX-8s that I could have simply bought one of those.
I mean, you got a good start. I mean, it drove in, didn't have to be pushed in. So
fair point.
It's already better than some others. I mean, the mileage is quite high. People go off mileage a lot. There's 60,000 miles I need to rebuild, but it's not true. It depends how they've been looked after.
Is it crazy though to spend all this money on 114,000 miles? It is a bit.
Yeah, yeah and no. I mean, for the money you spend, what else could you go buy?
We're now gonna hang out with Josh and the team and probably interfere as much as we can, as much as I can. I've seen such beautiful engine bays. This is not one of them. Extra grounding wires that I've put, and you said that there's a better way to do it.
Follow the existing wiring loom onto the engine.
Right.
Make a ground point on the engine to chassis, especially with the 90s Jap stuff like the RX-7s. They suffer from grounding issues. Yes, it's always a good idea. This is like a copy intake.
Yeah.
Which personally I'd recommend just changing back to the stock Airbox. A lot of these cheap ones don't actually come with the air separators for the maths, so the mesh inside. The air doesn't get diffused by coming in, and then the maths can't read it properly.
Because I've heard about the problem, and the original one, I didn't want to rip it out just in case I wanted to go back to the Airbox. I literally bought a little sieve for £5 and fitted it under the silicone tube, or cut around it, and it's worked so far.
Oh, it looks good. It looks like the original one, to be fair.
Amazing. Spending money on the rust element and now on the engine rebuild, what is the next thing that could fail?
Suspension, brakes, drop links, them sort of things, and normal wear and tear items. We wouldn't do a rebuild without replacing them parts.
The radiator is a common issue. That car there is actually in for radiator. These plastic nipples down here, they get soft, brittle over time. When you move this bottle, obviously we're as careful as we can. We tend not to replace this hose.
Because if you take it off, it
breaks.
I'm just really scared that after spending all this money in a year's time, something else major will break, and I'm back to square one. So the more we can address today, the better, really.
So Reece got a new radiator there, so you can see the
There
nipple.
you go. That one.
That is it.
Literally that.
It's plastic.
Yeah, it's all plastic.
It's already piling up very quickly. We haven't even started, really.
Shall I stop now?
Sorry?
Shall I stop now?
Yeah, maybe just put it back as it was.
So with your bonnet struts, these little brackets in them a couple of times, I think maybe they've been made because the wiring has to be pulled away.
I wonder why.
When the bonnet goes down, the struts sit here.
Oh, but you're talking about other cars, not other RX-8s.
Yeah, other RX-8s, this is normally up against here.
And where did the rods go?
They don't have them. There's an option extra.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But they are genuine Mazda items, yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I thought they all had it.
No.
Interesting. I really like the fact that you can open the bonnet.
when the car is in the air, we do a full health check at the same time. It's pointless someone spending loads of money on the engine and then the chassis is terrible or it needs brakes, or on these brakes obviously there's quite a rust lip forming. Plenty of meat on the pads. Check all the bushes on the front for obvious cracks and leaking grease. Lower arms are a common, they actually recall them for lower arms on the earlier ones.
Did they?
Yeah, there was basically cracking in here.
Oh wow.
Check the drop links for some play. These all feel nice and tight. Another common failure point on the RX-8s is the engine mounts, because they're fluid filled, so they tend to sag. So if you sort of see here where this is sitting in between these 2 points, it's kind of central. You want to sort of be central. If you look at the driver's side, it's probably going to be a lot worse. Yes, so that's sitting pretty high. All the heat, if you look here, is sort of sitting a lot closer to the top of the mount, which indicates that this mount is sagging slightly.
Right.
Normally that is the case because of the heat from the exhaust manifold and stuff.
Goes out that way.
Yeah. At this point as well, it's a good time to change engine mounts. We don't charge any additional labour to do it because we remove them anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, overall the front, apart from the brake discs, it's got an upright start motor on it.
Yep.
Can be a good thing, can be a bad thing.
Oh, what's the bad thing? I thought it was a very good thing. I was so happy I'd done it myself.
It can mask low compression issues. So if you've got a low compression that won't start hot or struggles to start, and you put a big 14-tooth R3 start motor on it, which is spinning over at 320 RPM, that's why a lot of people look at RX-8s or have an RX-8 that starts fine hot and cold. Try not to take it
because you've got
sort
that.
of for gospel. Yeah.
Interesting.
Another common fail point, obviously you've had it done.
Yeah.
By the looks of things.
All new.
Inner seals, outer seals, anything on the seals, the arches. Yeah, but yeah, it looks nice and clean.
It's not just been hidden. It's actually all new metal.
A lot of common foul points in the rear. Dirt and road salt and stuff like that get stuck in there, and it doesn't get cleaned out. It basically eats it from the inside out. The stock catalytic converter.
I think so.
I don't know if there's anything in it or not, but
It passes the MOT all right, so I assume it's still functioning properly.
they have to eat a lot of stuff that comes out of the engine, especially on the rotary.
Yeah.
Common foul points for these is not the actual cat fouling itself. It's normally the ignition system that fouls, which then kills the cat.
Yeah.
Basically, unburnt fuel goes in there, it ignites inside there, and basically breaks it down.
Actually break it. Oh wow.
So a lot of people will just think, oh, my cat's blocked or my cat's broken, chuck a new cat on, then 6 months later they're the same issue because they haven't paid attention to the ignition system. Same to the back box. Obviously you've got an aftermarket.
Yeah.
Looks like a Toyo Sport
Toyo,
or
yeah,
Jap Speed or
it's a Toyo.
eBay, or they're all the same.
Okay.
Or someone just bought one and then everyone copied it. They're cheap and cheerful. It's a very entry level exhaust. It's not an amazing exhaust.
But are we talking about sound, about performance,
Sound,
about what?
performance, fitment,
All of it.
sort of similar to stock diameter.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get an aftermarket one, are normally 3-inch, so they're bigger.
A bit bigger.
We personally really like the petite racing. A lot of these style of exhausts, you see that here you've had the exhaust rad melted or cut
Yeah, it's been cut
because of fitment issue.
Yeah.
It's on the rear, really common. Rear drop links. See a little bit of knocking, bit of play, really common.
Oh yeah.
This one more so.
Yeah.
These are aftermarket replacements.
Yeah, they've been replaced
The
before.
seals crack, break down, the grease leaves, the joint goes dry, and then that creates play and knock. Same as the rear D-bushes.
It's easy fix though, isn't it?
Yeah, simple. There's 2 bolts of D-bushes. It can transform the actual drive. The stock suspension on RX-8 is pretty great all round, and the rear anti-roll bar is a bit soft. You do get a bit of wallowing on the stock suspension, but
Yeah.
there's no broken springs. The springs look okay. There's many suspension options to choose from.
Yeah. We'll look at that in the future. I'm quite pleased that nothing major has come out yet. What's the order of things?
Basically break down to a bare block now, so we're going to remove the upper inlet manifold, the throttle body, the alternator, the exhaust manifold, lower inlet plenum, all the wiring, clutch. It'll literally be just down to a bare engine block. And then when we're at that point, we'll get some flywheel locking tools on, get them cracked, and then we'll start undoing it, stripping it down.
Excellent. Oh, Oh, look at the gunk.
Yeah, a lot of people see that and think head gasket, but they don't actually have a head gasket.
Of course.
You see like more gunk actually in the engine. 9 times out of 10, it's never normally nothing serious. It's normally just the fact that there's some condensation build up, sort of hot and cold. Yeah, that's what you get. The lovely mayonnaise-y, creamy gunk.
Doesn't mean that the oil in there is not doing a good job.
No. What you see at the top is very minimal. Obviously, it's not like you're going to have a layer of that sitting on top of your oil in the oil pan.
Made up. Are there things that you actually reassemble differently from Mazda way to put things on?
And the only real different thing we do is we bypass the coolant going through the throttle body. It's more for really cold climates, making the throttle body hot. So obviously you want to try and get cold air in the engine, but it has to bypass something that's hot first. So we bypass the coolant flowing through the throttle body and back to the front cover. And we're not the only people who do it, a lot of other specialists do it as well. Yeah, definitely worth replacing at this stage.
You got spare pans, don't you?
Yeah, we've got spare pans, or you can upgrade better oil pan and stuff. Depends what you want to do. If you want to start doing tracks and track days and stuff, then
I can do the odd track day with this one. It wouldn't blow up on me, would it? Would it?
Shouldn't.
Should it?
Loads of them do track days. As long as it's maintained well and the engine's healthy, then there's no reason it should do.
Say if you're in for a few hours versus if you're in for 8 hours.
Whether it's open pit lane or sessions, you're normally only out for 15-20 minutes anyway. So the only real thing on a track day that would be worth improving would be a radiator for track days. Yeah, to keep it cool.
What next?
Flow locking tool on it. Once that's undone, the impact gun will take care of the back one and flip it over, get the sump off, strip down the front, and then start taking it layer by layer.
This one is the one that lost compression. This one was still a 6.5, I think.
So this is the rear, that's the front.
Yeah.
If it's dropped, preferably a big difference, between the front and rear. Like I said, it could be excessive wear, there could be a blocked oil injector.
That'll be interesting.
Poor maintenance. It could be the fact that the chrome inside here on the face of the housing is actually peeled away, which isn't uncommon on the RX-8s. So once we get it apart, we'll have a look. This is the engine number. Good way to check, obviously, the mileage is done to see if it is actually the original engine.
So that should match my paperwork. For what you've seen, you know it hasn't been rebuilt.
No.
But we don't know if it's the original engine necessarily.
It could have been swapped for a good second-hand one, or...
Engine number 4911. So that's the original engine?
Yeah, it's the original engine.
So the original engine has done me 114,000 miles without failing?
Yep.
How?
Depends how they've been maintained. Some were abused, some were well looked after.
I'm blown away.
It's obviously had a fairly decent life.
114,000 miles and still going.
As well.
Yeah.
Straight away, it's not great. You see some shiny filings.
Is that metal?
Yeah, it's bearing material, sludgy condensation-y bit down there.
Anything alarming?
Just you can see that sort of like glaze as it runs down, a different colour.
Yep.
An indication that there's some kind of bearing failure inside. Quite a lot of copper exposed on the bearings. Again, it's not really uncommon. They'll all be replaced regardless.
Is that where it gets sucked up?
Yes, this is the oil pickup, simple old plastic pickup. So this is your oil pressure regulator that we was talking about.
Okay.
Many forms, a lot of people fit uprated ones, which is basically an RX-7 one. They run high pressure. We have a tool where we crush the pellet, basically crush them, which takes up to about 95, 100 psi. It helps obviously pressure come around the engine, or get to where it needs to go to, and obviously maintains it at a higher PSI for longer. But obviously you don't want to go too much, because too much is also has a reverse effect. You can start cracking things if the oil pressure's too high.
What's happening here in the middle? Nothing, just
so if you actually look through there, you can actually see the eccentric shaft.
Oh really, can you see it in there? How high will the oil go when it's at capacity, when you filled it up?
If I get the dipstick here,
Oh, there it is.
You can see your measuring point
Oh,
of,
wow,
see the
very-
high point, so it'll only go
Just about there.
just around the level of this.
Oh, wow.
Is your
Much less
maximum
than I
line.
thought. In a piston engine, it'd be...
And the pistons, you have jets that squirt on the bottom of the piston for
But
cooling
also the I don't know the names in English, I know all this terminology in Italian. What's this bit?
and connecting rod.
Yeah, isn't that dipping into the oil at every spin?
Similar sort of thing, but you have oil inside the rotors as well.
How is the oil going to go
Oh,
up
it
there,
gets sucked
touching?
through the pickup. It goes
All
through
through
all
the
all
pump.
journals. Yeah, yeah.
So the pump does all the hard
the pump
work.
is the heart
That's
of the engine.
nice.
It's not a huge cost in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Just replace the oil pump.
That's big.
It's like the hardest working thing inside the engine. So another thing we change is this is a thermo wax pellet, basically, which opens and closes with temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Basically allows full flow, shall I say,
Through the rod.
shaft.
I did not know that.
So basically what this does is when it's cold it stays closed to aim faster warm-up times for emission purposes, etc. But what can happen, they can also fail shut. So what we do is we put this in the bin basically and we replace it with a thermo pellet bypass.
Is that to measure the revs?
The E-shaft sensor, central shaft sensor, basically reads this pickup wheel
Yeah.
here to determine
Magnetic.
well RPM, when to fire.
Is it worth changing or are they good to...
They normally ping an engine code or
plus it's external so it can always be
yeah,
changed.
it's simple.
At
Literally
later
one,
point. Yeah,
one
you're
10
right.
mil. Obviously, if you did ever change it, I'd always recommend it to change for a genuine part rather than a pattern part. So here you've got like the main, what we call the front. This is the shaft that drives
That powers
fuel
the
meter
oil.
and pump.
Yeah.
Spins that, which then spins the pump. So this is the actual oil pump here.
Does this chain ever fail?
I've never seen the chain fail. Obviously they get
It's
play.
a bit loose, yeah.
They get a bit of play in them. So. When you change anything in the rotating assembly, it's always a really good idea to get the whole assembly rebalanced. Especially the RX-8s, the balancing wasn't amazing from factory compared to something like the RX-7, which actually quite well balanced.
Do you send it off to do that?
Yeah, we send it off to a company called Garage Reg. It gets it bang on.
What is the sign of a bad balance?
See massive wear on the engine. You can
on
see it
the
on
rotors?
the shaft, on the bearings. You see it everywhere. No, that's not heavy enough, that one. First time. There you go. 18 tension bolt washers, basically sandwich it all together.
Yep.
Some copper showing on the bearing there. You can see the age on the bearing, you can see some pitting where it's probably picked up and then some of that copper has run round again. Over for the mileage.
Not bad.
No. Ready?
Hello. Side seals. Side looking good.
So you've got your two intake ports here. Your exhaust port, big carbon build up there. That shouldn't be like that.
Oh wow, that is a lot. That's the exhaust.
Yeah, this is the exhaust.
Wow.
Oh
my god, it's solid.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of times this gets solid. There's like a little ledge there. It allows carbon build up. Basically.
That would choke up the engine, wouldn't it?
Press
Reducing
them,
my...
exhaust port size.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
the
actually
si-
changing the port timing of your engine.
Yes, of course.
Because that's essentially.
This
closed
is
damage
the rear
control.
rotor we're looking at.
Obviously, with the age, you're going to expect some wear to make sure there's no physical damage or anything to the iron.
Can you spot anything?
Marks in the iron here, but they're not obviously too deep.
To the touch? A little
Yeah,
bit
a
there.
little bit here, and
Yeah.
obviously the step weary bit here.
Yeah. Wow.
So these are the water seals.
Yep.
Similar to a head gasket. They stop the combustion gases mixing with water,
Yep.
leaving the
Because
engine.
this is where the water goes through, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so the water sits in between these two water seals.
All of these channels.
And here you got your side seals. Yeah, never.
Oh!
Never
Fair.
never reuse them.
Absolutely. And here's rotor number 1 coming out. Ooh, wow.
So there's the apex seals.
Do they look very short?
Yes.
Wow, they are short.
A lot of copper showing on the bearing there. So if that material we see in the sump
Comes from here?
from here.
Because that's changing, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, these bearings will be gone.
Yeah.
Depending how worn they are, we may obviously assess the rotor, see loads of carbon build up.
Yeah.
If you expect with this kind of mileage.
Trying to spot any funny wearing, but it doesn't look too
Visually there's no physical damage.
obvious.
There's a lot of carbon build up on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
That indicates obviously the side seals are well out of tolerance.
That's the good rotor.
Airbox seals themselves, pretty similar. 2-piece Airbox seal, 2mm thick, a lot shorter than an RX-7 one. They never get reused.
Oh, the little
They're the dowels.
dowels. I've heard about them not being great.
On a stock application, they're fine. If you start running forced induction, you can upgrade to 1-piece solid dowels.
Then why would you go solid for?
Basically, to make
robust?
it more, make it more rigid. But when you add more power, basically, the engine's trying to twist.
Flex.
Basically, You can go thicker studs. You can go ARP, stud and nut kit.
Yeah.
A lot of chatter marks on these housings. Airbox seal chatter marks. You see all the
Oh
lines.
wow! Can I feel? Oh my god, they're
Yeah.
so prominent. This is huge. The little metal bit of the spark plug comes off.
Yours is still there.
In this one, my last plugs, it went. It goes through.
Yeah.
That could cause damage, couldn't it?
It could, but not like this. This is normally down to poor lubrication because the way the design pre-mixing is quite a good idea.
I'm just running my finger here. I can feel that groove. Definitely feel it. Already.
And if you go that way, you should be
yeah,
able to
this one,
feel-
all
feel
this bit
these.
is like rigidity.
Yeah,
That's not good, is it?
no, but
And this, again, this is the 6 point something
yeah,
compression.
we haven't
on.
seen the bad one yet.
Yeah, exactly. How is it that decent with all this damage?
Well, when you do a compression test, it only reads
That spot.
this spot here.
Ah, so we don't know up here how
You
it's
don't- yeah.
doing. Interesting.
But overall, it's again visually. Obviously, they're going to be sent off for
Ground.
engineering anyway. Yeah. Right. So this is centre iron. This has intake ports and exhaust ports on both sides.
Yeah.
Again, we've got carbon build up on the exhaust ports.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same as
same.
the other one. In
Again, you
fact,
can
a bit
see-
more, even there.
Yeah, you can see obviously a lot of wear markers.
Are these getting grounded?
That's what we spoke about when you first come, was obviously the lapping.
Because the rotor itself never really touches. It's always the seals,
only time
isn't
the
it?
rotor hits anything is if it's out of balance or excessive RPM.
Yeah. This is what we're gonna lap as well to
Uh,
bring that compression back.
yeah.
Proper.
Obviously, providing that they're within tolerance to do so. There.
Ooh, here's the shaft.
Yeah. So this shaft we're probably going to throw in the bin.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, how so?
So you can see excessive wear and burns, that's scorch marks. That there, you can set off to be polished and then adjust the size of your bearings. But yeah, obviously
Not
for
worth.
cost effectiveness, we've got loads of these.
In good conditions, in
yeah.
better condition than this.
Yeah. They're obviously they're stamped BB. So this is a B weight engine. So all the rotors will be a B weight. So if you've
Okay,
got a matching
so that's
shaft.
going.
Yeah. Make a
Alright.
table out of it or something.
Quack scratcher. Don't know what else we can use it for.
This bearing here
Yeah.
should be flush with that.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
actually dropped down.
Yes.
So this rotor is also going to go in the bin. Before I turn it over, see how it sits flush?
Yep.
And you have that little lug where it sits. That bearing's spun inside. That's spun.
Oh.
So obviously imagine a bearing spinning somewhere it shouldn't do. It's going to wear the actual rotor
Yes.
surface. So if we put a new bearing in there, it'll probably pressing fine. This now might not be the correct
right
size, diameter to...
Specific, yeah. So he's done.
Yeah, so there's spun, so it's come away.
It's not aligned anymore. And it's out
Yeah, so
this
the
way as well.
Line's over there, the thing's over there.
So it's spun within.
That's where, one, there's a lot of copper and metal material in the sump. And obviously if that's moved, this isn't now correctly seated on the shaft here, where that bearing's probably come forward and touched this gear.
Yep.
So that gear is also going to go. I mean, the rest of the rotor might be fine.
Why do you think it happened?
Again, it could be down to poor lubrication, poor maintenance, age.
Here's a lot of miles on it, isn't it? Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, so this house has also got a similar wear. There's no big chunks of peel. Careful, it might be sharp on the edge. Yeah, that's just carbon.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, the wear on the housing looks pretty similar compared to the rear,
Yeah, yeah.
which is a good sign.
First one actually had a deeper scar. So
Yeah.
that one potentially.
And that was but the reason this one was worse because it was out of alignment.
Yeah, interesting.
Must
It
be.
would be a fairly quick thing to happen, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
It wouldn't
and you,
necessarily build over so much time.
and you probably wouldn't sort of notice it.
I noticed the sound of the engine changing and then the performance
Yeah, it's
changing a
probably
bit.
that. So like when I started this up yesterday and drove in, and you first start, I could hear bearing rattle.
Yeah, yeah.
As you start,
You can hear a
the little-
rattle.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are the things you expect with the age. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of corrosion in places. There's going to be a lot of wear.
Do they lap the entire face?
Entire
even
face.
here, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the entire face gets lapped.
You are happy enough for them to be sent off.
All the plates were sent off for lapping. All the two housings were sent off for grinding. Because we're changing multiple pieces in a rotating assembly now, I would highly recommend getting it balanced.
Really?
It's a B-weight rotor, and I probably have got a B-weight. On an RX-7 it'd be fine. They've done them within half a gram. These ones, that could be 5 kg, that could be a whole gram out. They weren't great on RX-8, so...
They don't put the engine back together?
No, so it would just be the rotors. Well, it won't actually be the rotors, it'd be something that's measured to the weight of the rotors, pretending to be the rotors. And then the rotors are weight matched.
Wow. That's the engine open. Now we have an idea of what's going on and what happened in there. Really cool that we found some specifics. Josh was brilliant at recognizing already what elements will not go back in. What happens next? Sending the stuff off?
Yeah, so we get it all cleaned up, do some measurements, send off to engineering, and then see what they say, if they're usable parts or we've got to source some new bits.
So scary, honestly. Thank you, mate. That was really interesting to see how it's all done. Stripped. Off to engineering. It's been 2 months. 2 months. And still the car isn't ready. The engine is not returned. From where? Let me explain.